I want to talk to you of sickness. Illness is a massive teacher in our lives. Hello and welcome into my channel. My name is Katarina. Happy New Year. Happy 2024. Today I come to you just recovering from being sick. I had one of the many viruses that are going around. And I want to talk to you of sickness and how sickness, illness, is a massive teacher in our lives. And we can use the gift, it has a silver lining, of sickness to then kind of propel forward in our lives, as well as other ways to stay healthy during this season so we don't have to be sick all the time. And just what I have gained from this illness that I am overcoming as we speak. So thank you for watching. I hope you're doing well. I hope sickness hasn't come into your family, into your friend group. I hope you are healthy and well and enjoying this beautiful new year. But I must say, it is a reset. Here I am in my yoga classes in my life thinking about, okay, we're closing a chapter. We're closing 2023 and starting a new chapter, 2024. And I got a massive reset, as well as my roommate, as well as my neighbors. My boyfriend was sick a couple weeks ago, so we've all gotten this massive reset. So there is a gift. It kind of came into our lives. So I find myself, each time I get sick, there's a process. I fight it at first. I can't accept it. I just want to keep on getting better and healing myself and taking all the vitamins. And I continue to do that, and I continue to take care of myself through the course of the illness. But initially, I want to fight it, and I don't want to take off work. I don't want to stop my routine, but I feel terrible. And so I'm kind of forced to redirect. And also, I don't want to get other people sick around me either. And the first day, I'm emotional, I'm crying, I'm angry, I'm checking my phone all the time. I'm on social media, I'm checking emails, I'm doing all these things that don't feel good either. And I notice myself, there's resistance, there's angst in my body. And once I just accept the illness, accept this teacher, then it's so much easier. I settle into the illness. I start reading books. I read so many books when I'm sick, and it's such a gift just to be able to lay in bed. I go and lay by the ocean on a rock. My backyard is the ocean, so I'm fortunate to have that. And it's sunny and warm here in the middle of the day in San Diego. So also, again, thank you, fortunate. And I just read. I read and I explore. It came to me the other day, I was at the gym and I saw someone with a bag that said, reading is to the mind as yoga is to the body, or something along that line. And I really appreciate that. And I don't have enough time to read in my busy life. And being able to just absorb books when I'm ill, when I'm sick, is just such a pleasure. And I find stillness in my mind. I took 3 days off from work, and the last couple days I haven't checked my phone at all. There's no desire to check my phone at all. I even went for a little walk today, and being around all the people on a busy Saturday was a lot. I wanted to continue to be in my place of retreat, and I'm not so ready to dive into the world yet. I'm still in this place of introspection and growth, and I really like it. There are still lessons that are coming to the surface, and you receive these lessons through acceptance. And I was talking with my mother the other day about how it's easier to accept this transient illness because I know that it will end. It has a lifespan of probably less than 2 weeks. And 2 weeks is really the outstretched version, unless you're chronically ill or have other conditions. But for these viruses, it's usually 2 weeks or less. But chronic illness is another one, and that's harder to accept because it's a lifelong lesson. But it did make me reflect because it's been a while now, but a few years back, maybe 5 years ago, I was working back in New York in Westchester in the PICU, which is a pediatric ICU, as a nurse. And it was my first nursing job, and I worked there for about 3 years. And it was not my calling. It was extremely stressful. I loved the children, I loved the families. That was my greatest pleasure in the work. But the machinery, the EVDs, ventilators, drips, medications, like so much technology, machinery going on attached to this body would stress me out. And I worked night shift, and I am not a night person at all. And it was an overwhelming experience for me. And my body was so drained. I had no appetite. Like my life just started to kind of fall apart slowly. My rhythms were messed up because I was trying to be up all night. And then when I was off, the story goes on and on and on. But I started to feel things slipping in my health. And I was going to acupuncture because I was getting really bad menstrual cramps. And it's so interesting because in our society, you go to the doctor, and I'm sorry, doctors, but it's the truth. You go to the doctor and they say, well, that's normal. Dysmenorrhea, it's normal. So many women have it. You just take ibuprofen. So I was taking so much ibuprofen all the time on my period. And I felt like there should be a better way. And so I was I took a scan. I got an ultrasound to see what was going on, and I wasn't firmly diagnosed, but suspected to have endometriosis. I didn't really know what that was, and I looked it up, and fear arose in me. There was a chance that I would be infertile, and all of these other things, and there was no solution, no fix unless I had surgery. And that was a real whew in my life. I was like, something needs to change. I can't continue going like this and harming myself and altering my future. And so I was really faced with a difficult situation, and I jumped off the cliff, and maybe a couple months later, I quit my great job. I had great benefits full time. I was making lots of money. I quit my job. I bought a one-way ticket to Costa Rica thinking I'd go so I did create some security. I got my nursing license in Arizona, California, and Oregon because I do like security. And so I did have a little bit of a float, and I had money saved. And I got a one-way ticket to Costa Rica thinking it would only be 6 weeks, and then I'd come back and I'd do a travel nursing assignment, change it up. But I never came home. I traveled for a year and a half. It was a dream of mine, and I finally did it. And yes, so the illness was a catapult. And I noticed after, I think it was just 1 month of being in Costa Rica, and then I was in Nicaragua soon after, and my diet was really good. I was just in such a good place. I was sleeping well. It was just, oh, so good. And I didn't have any pain. It was amazing. And I have some pain now. I'm living my life, but it's so much better than it was. And I hope that it continues to get better. But that chronic illness, endometriosis, it never goes away. I don't like sharing this, but I got a scan recently. I still have multiple cysts on my ovaries, and I still get pain, and it's troublesome. It definitely is troublesome. Like, now I know that it's so common, and it doesn't necessarily mean infertility. I know so many people who have had children, multiple children, and I know how common it is, and I'm seeing just how common it is because of our lifestyles. So it's definitely been a teacher for me, and I've adjusted my diet. I've adjusted so many things in my life. Like, sleep is such a priority. My health is such a priority. My mental state is such a priority. And yet, I still have ways to go. And so that being said, illness is a massive teacher. And this illness, well, let me just say, so this illness, I've been reading 2 books. So this book, they're both from the library because I have way too many books and I'm trying to get rid of. And so I'm using the library as a beautiful resource. So this is The Dance of Anger by Harriet Lerner. It's from the 1980s, so it's definitely a little outdated, but one of my amazing students recommended it to me. He's read it a few times. And I picked it up from the library in the summer, I want to say. And I was reading it, and it was good, but it wasn't really resonating because I wasn't really in a place of anger, so I didn't really understand. And also, to backtrack, I've never really considered myself an angry person because as a child, I would get upset and cry. I would internalize it, but I would never lash out. But then as I've gotten older, I think the pendulum is swinging to the other side, and I find myself getting angry and verbalizing, which is great because I withheld so much. So it's good, but now I'm trying to come back to that healthy midline. And I picked this, so I was going to return it last week, I want to say, but I was outside the library because I had something else to pick up. And I was looking at the book, The Dance of Anger, and I was recognizing like, wow, anger has been coming up for me a lot recently. So maybe I should finish it off. And I've gobbled it down and I finished it yesterday. And it's a really good teacher, I must admit. So thank you, Rob. Thank you for suggesting this book. I put a hold on her next book, The Dance of Intimacy, to see how that lands. And just like a little tidbit from this one, there's a dance of anger. There's a cycle that we create with anyone in our lives. Like there's this dance, like I have my role, you have your role. And so we both play our roles and we create that groove where, oh, I do my role, you automatically do your role. So what can we do? Instead of blaming the other person, you look at your role in the dance and change the steps. As if it's a dance, change your movement in the dance. And that creates a massive shift. So that's one of the big things that I'm working on. And it will evolve. So thank you, Harriet Lerner, for that message. And then yesterday, I picked up In the Flow. I had some technical difficulties, but I am back. In the Flow by Alisa Vitti. I just wanted to say that in the other book, Dance of Anger, I found this little list of groceries that the woman, the mother, I presume, had before I took the book out from the library. Eggs, kid yogurt, sourdough bread, a few other things. I thought it was sweet to connect with whoever held this book before me. So, In the Flow by Alisa Vitti. She is really a pioneer for women. She also has an app. I use the app, the Flow app, and track my menstrual cycle. I think it's really important. And we shouldn't be shamed into not talking about it. I also take my temperature in the morning when I remember. And connecting to our cycle is so important. And she helps us take a look at this 28-day cycle, or longer or shorter, depending on your natural cycle, and the 4 stages, and how to shift your lifestyle to better fit with your energy levels in the 28 days. And it's really beautiful because oftentimes we focus on this 24-hour day that is very suited for the masculine body and the masculine hormone cycle, but for women it's extremely different. And especially menstruating women, which is, most women have gone through menstruation, if they're past, if they're prior, but it's a large part of our female life. And to better understand how to work with the cycle instead of letting it be this like, oh, my cycle, my emotions, my hormones, it's really taking back the power that is ours. And I'm really excited. I'm just beginning it, but I'm excited to see what unfolds and see how it helps me with my journey. She does mention one thing that has been really transformative for my current illness, my current virus. And there's this idea of busyness. And I'm totally a culprit of this busyness. And it's so ingrained in our society. There's productivity. We almost look upon busyness as a good thing. And I don't have a TV, so I don't sit around. I don't come home from work and lay down and watch TV. I don't watch movies really. But I'm constantly doing things. And yes, I have a wonderful work-life balance that I've achieved where I'm not full-time doing anything. Like I teach yoga, I do sound healings, I'm a hospice nurse, and I have time to exercise and to dance and for my hobbies and to spend time with my boyfriend and friends. And yet I'm still so busy. I'm still overbooked and I don't know what to do, you know? There's always more time to clean the house or practice more music, practice my yoga, work out more. There's always more to be done, and yet I'm so busy. And I'm learning from this illness to take time, to stop, to read a book, to rest, to simply be, to do nothing, to simply be. Because, and this is it, this is the lesson, if we don't take the time to rest, life will force us to rest through illness. It happens to me every season, and I recognize it. If you don't take the time to rest yourself, you will be given the time to rest through illness. And not to say we shouldn't continue to prevent illness and protect our immune system, build our immune system through exercise, sunlight, going outside, promoting happiness and health in our lives, eating well, eating fresh food, and taking care of ourselves in all of those ways, and sleeping well. That's a huge one. But we should also take time to just do nothing and come back to being a human being, instead of this human doing thing. Let's come back to being human, come back to being a human being and take that time to rest. And who knows what else will unfold as I continue to recover from this illness, and this beautiful reset in the new year expands in me and around me. But this is a big lesson that I'm learning right now. And please do share if you've had an illness or know someone and notice this beautiful silver lining. Please share. It's a gift for all of us. It helps us accept the illness more so we can work with it instead of fighting against it, because the fighting against it, it just gets you sicker and sicker. And the acceptance can be really beautiful. And not to say it's always easy, because I know there are many chronic illnesses out there that are really challenging, and the acceptance can be a really long journey. But it's really all we can do. All we can do is accept, because the more we fight, the more energy we lose, and it becomes an uphill battle. But acceptance kind of brings the volume down. So that's my lesson. Let's become a little less busy. Let's take time for rest, for reading, to stop, to reflect, to find that peace. Thank you. I hope you have a beautiful and blessed 2024. I hope this is a gorgeous year. I know it will be. Thank you so much for watching. If you've liked this, please subscribe to my channel, and I will have more yoga, sound healing, talks like this. I'm hoping to do some cooking ones because I love cooking and creating meals. So we'll see. If you have any idea recommendations, please share. Namaste and blessings. Happy New Year.